Hi everyone, welcome back to Liberty Park Music. Today we'll be learning how and why we should play our scales on single strings on the guitar. Now if you find this video helpful, remember to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we really appreciate that. And also if you have questions, just leave it in the comments section down below and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Alright, so first things first, why should we play our scales on single strings? Well, the idea of playing your scales on single strings actually comes from this book called The Advancing Guitarist, and I highly recommend it. So the main reason why it's useful is because when you limit yourself on the instrument, what you will find is that you can learn a lot of things that you wouldn't normally be able to learn. So, for example, if I'm always playing my scale across 6 strings, like let's say for example I play my G major scale. Now, if I'm very used to this position of the G major scale going across all 6 strings, if I all of a sudden as I'm improvising and I slide out of that position, oftentimes I will find that I'm lost. But if I spend a lot of time sliding up and down my strings, playing my scales up and down on a single string or maybe even 2 strings or 3 strings, I will find that I don't get lost as often. Now, another reason why you should try playing your scales on a single string is because it gives you a very cool sound. You can add legato techniques like slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs to get you a very nice and sweet, like voice-like sound on the guitar. There are many solos that use single-string playing, and one solo that comes to mind is something called Gravity by John Mayer. Now it goes something like this. You see how it's all on a single string, and that's how John Mayer gets that very sweet, very voice-like sound to his guitar playing. You'll find that John Mayer uses this quite a bit. It's not just this solo, it's many other solos as well. Alright, so now that we know why we should practice on single strings, let's figure out how we can do that practice. So there are many ways you can play with a single string exercise. So let's start with something very simple. We're going to use one finger and we're going to play the first string of the guitar, and we're just going to do this on a G major scale. So first I'll locate the notes of the G major scale on this string and play it up and down a few times. So in the key of G, the notes that we'll be playing begins on the 3rd fret. That's a root note. 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12, 14, and 15, which is back to the root note. So once again, going backwards. Going up and down like this on a single string will also show you very clearly the steps that it takes to move from one note, one scale degree to the next scale degree. What I mean by that is you will know that from the first scale degree, meaning the root note, to the second scale degree, it's a whole step. So whole step, 2 to 3 is whole step as well, 3 to 4 is half step, 4 to 5 is whole step, 5 to 6 is whole step, 6 to 7 is whole step, and 7 back to the 1 is a half step. So the key is you want to just use one finger for now. Then we'll try to use different fingers to play around with this scale. So using just one finger, I'm going to play this scale up and down a couple of times. Then I'll try to find very familiar melodies that I can play around with. So maybe something like a Now, once I get bored of doing this, playing simple melodies, I can try improvising as well. So I'll just maybe I'll switch fingers as well. I'll use my ring finger this time. I'll just play around with this. something like this. You can have quite a bit of fun with this. So that's the great thing about playing on single strings. You can spend a lot of time doing this exercise, and it will always be fun. It's not like just playing your scales up and down over and over and over again. A lot of getting good at playing single strings relies on improvising on those single strings. Now, once this gets a little boring, we can switch to a different string. So just now I was spending time on the first string. Maybe I'll spend time on the second string now. Now the second string, the open string, is the B note, which is the third scale degree of the G major scale. So I'm going to begin on the third scale degree and move up. Root note. And then going back down again. Back to the root note. So I'll do the same thing on the second string, and then the same thing on the third string as well. Maybe this time I'll use a different finger. Again, I'll use my middle finger instead. Now, once you get tired of using just one finger, you can also use several fingers. Maybe we'll use two fingers for now, and think about this. There are different combinations of two fingers as well. You can use your index finger, middle finger, index finger, ring finger, index finger, and pinky. Or you can use middle finger, ring finger, middle finger, pinky. And last but not least, I believe you have ring finger and pinky. If I missed something, let me know in the comments as well. All right, so using just two fingers, I'm going to play and improvise around on the third string. I'm going to use my index finger and ring finger for this. Oops, I cheated over there. I used my middle finger instead. But you get the idea. Then I can switch around, use different fingers as well, or maybe I can even switch strings. So this is a very, very creative exercise. Feel free to just play around and see what you come up with in terms of different exercises. Now, once we've gotten pretty good at individual strings, one string at a time, we can try improvising over a combination of strings. Now this is where those shapes and patterns of the major scale start to come in just a little bit. But instead of learning our scales this way across, the idea now is we're going to build up our scales in every key, in this case the key of G, on two strings first. So, and then maybe I can switch over to the next string. You see? So I'll get very, very good at playing the G major scale on the first and second strings. Then I'll switch over to maybe the second and third string, then maybe the third and fourth string. And it doesn't even have to be adjacent strings. I can do something like first string and third string. So first string and third string would sound something like this. See what I mean? So that being able to do that really depends on whether I know the major scale, the G major scale very well on each of those individual strings. Now, you'll find that learning your scale patterns while being able to slide up and down each string will help you visualize the entire scale a lot better. Now, besides doing slides like what I just did, we can also add ornamentation techniques like bends, palm mutes, and hammer-ons and pull-offs. So the exercise of playing scales on single strings or maybe two strings or three strings, it's pretty limitless, and you should feel free to just play around with different ways of playing the same scale. So get creative with it. So using ornamentation techniques, so let's try, maybe I'll add some like hammer-ons, pull-offs, and bends as well. So now I go to the second string. fret string. Oops. So once again, you can just get very, very creative with this exercise, and trust me, it is extremely beneficial to know how to play your scales on single strings and maybe just limit yourself to 2 strings or 3 strings per scale. Once you try it out, then you'll know what I mean by there are many things that you can learn by limiting yourself that you will not be able to learn by playing your whole major scale across all 6 strings. Yeah. All right, so once you've got really good at that, you might be wondering, what's next? By the way, this is probably going to take you a long, long time as well, yeah? Getting really, really good at one scale on one string takes a long time on its own already. So doing it across all 6 strings and then doing it in a combination of 2 strings, 3 strings, that's going to take a lot of time. But once you're done with, like, say, the G major scale, what you can do is move on to other scales as well. So maybe the C major scale, the F major scale, the B flat major scale. Now, it doesn't even have to be just the major scale. You can do the minor scale. If you know your modes well, you can do your Lydian scale, Mixolydian scale, Dorian, whatever. You know, you can even get pretty crazy with it, do your harmonic minor, melodic minors, and get really good at those scales on single strings too. And you will find that the more you do this on every single scale, the more you will know those scales across the entire fretboard. Now, this is one of those exercises that, of course, you can just do for the rest of your life. So just do it almost like a warm-up every single day, and you'll find that it is very, very beneficial. All right, so that's all for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.